lovelies. How are you? I know it's been a minute. I apologize. I missed you. Let's take a quick second and make sure the sound is working. How are you? Yes, it is working. Awesome. Okay. So, I haven't done Shanny stuff in a minute. And I noticed that there was a brief period there where she wasn't really putting out a whole lot of content. It was just mostly, again, sitting there playing what was it, Animal Crossing for like 5 hours at a time. And it was like, well, there's nothing to review here. This is really boring. So, and then the whole Zia bullshit. Anyway, I noticed that she put out, because I'm subscribed to her, so I get her community posts. And I saw her community post this morning saying that she'd gone to the hospital. And I was like, well, this is going to be interesting. Because I know she put out 2 streams like either yesterday or the day before about she's so tired, she's ready to give up. And I thought, this is good material. We need to sit down and review it. And I will. But I just wanted to kind of go over the stuff that she did today about going to the hospital, because I did watch portions of the 2-hour live stream that she did that comes after this one. And I had a few things to say about the information she was sharing. She also tried to report someone for saying that they were violating HIPAA by asking for her medical records. And I'm like, you dumbass. Somebody asking for your medical records is not a violation of HIPAA. HIPAA is to protect medical professionals from just freely sharing your personal medical information to people that don't need it. So like, your personal medical team is like the people that are directly working with whatever ailment it is that you have, right? So your doctor can't take your specific medical information and share it with like Jimmy Joe Bob, who works down in radiology and has nothing to do with your case or whatever. So it's to keep basically medical professionals in line. And she's like, he's violating HIPAA laws. And I'm like, oh my God, why? Yeah, hippo. uh, so we all know that this will be gone by this weekend. She's doctor shopping and poof is pathetic. Yeah, the proof. She does not have proof of anything. Yeah, see, what's funny is that the picture that she showed, the piece of paper that showed the damaged hip, I don't believe that that's an image of her actual hip, because I don't see how they would even do that. Like, I could see giving you your x-rays if that's what they did, or your CAT scan results, but that's usually given digitally. Like when my husband broke his foot last year, they gave us a copy of his x-rays, but it was on a disc. So it was digital, so that if we had to take it somewhere or whatever, but we had it. They didn't print it out on a piece of paper. I think that what she showed on camera was just an example of what a damaged hip joint looks like, which I feel like I can speak to because I have damaged hip joints, and I just kind of wanted to go into the circumstances of that. But anyway, let's go ahead. And I smoked my bowl a little before this because let me tell you guys, the last week and a half has been kind of rough. Today was kind of shitty, and I knew I wanted to get on stream because I haven't been on stream for a while, and it's like, I just need to chill out for a little while and be happy to talk to my subscribers. So if I'm a little bit rambly today, that would be why. But it's just been one of those days. Like, this week hasn't been that great, but it's just been one of those days today where it's like, I just need a vacation from life today. She didn't show her hip. It was an info sheet. Right, exactly. So that's what I'm saying, is that it would be an example of what her hip would actually look like. If not, like, not when on an x-ray. I don't think it's an actual printed picture of her hip, which is kind of silly, but let's go ahead and start the video and see what she has to say. Oops, it helps if I unmute it. There we go. And if it doesn't take us too long to get through this one, we might jump into the next one.
Hi guys, I just came back from the hospital. Do I have my paperwork? Yes, I do. I was diagnosed with something actually today. I'm going to show you a picture.
Hasn't she said
of
in the
what's going
past,
on
though,
with
that
me.
she's been diagnosed with this before?
But
oh my God, Shanny. Shove the phone in your
pocket. You see that ball joint? That's my ball joint right now. They found a shit ton of osteo in my hip.
Osteoarthritis.
I already have it in my knees. I already have it in my ankles. So it's actually the best step actually to take for disability, to get disability, because there's no cure to it. It's just degenerative, and probably in a few weeks, or not a few weeks, but in a few years, I won't be able to walk at all because of it.
No, this is not. This is not true. This is not true. This is not true. Now, if she were to decide to go the route of not having surgery, then yes, she would not be able to walk in a few years. However, they have this wonderful thing called hip replacements now, where if she decides that her health is actually important to her and she loses a couple 100 pounds, then they would be able to do a hip surgery and replace her hip joint, and she would be able to walk. Now, there would be a lot of rehab involved, like having your hip replaced is not a simple procedure. It's very grueling on your body, and it takes you a long time to recover. And a lot of times, it's almost like you have to learn how to walk again. Um, I worked in a field where I had to deal with a lot of elderly people that had hips replaced and had knees replaced, ankles, things like that. And yeah, it's grueling, and there's a lot of rehab and a lot of work involved. But Shanny would have to be willing to put forth that effort to actually, go that far. But having that hip replaced would mean that she would be able to walk still. Not as perfectly as a normal person would be, but she'd still be able to be mobile.
In appointments with
Hi, Cynthia.
The orthopedic surgeon and my primary caregiver coming up soon. So, but, excuse me if I'm not acting right. They put me on morphine and Percocets. And
Percocets? She just said Percocets.
Steroid. Prednisone. Yeah, I'm on prednisone for 5 days. I don't know how I'm going to act on steroids. I've never been on steroids before.
Okay, I don't believe that she's never been on steroids before. But I can understand that she doesn't know how she's going to be. And knowing what we've seen of Shanny already, it makes me very worrisome about what's going to happen on prednisone. Now, granted, she's only on for 5 days, which is a good thing. Because I don't know if anybody out there that has ever had to take steroids before, but I've been on steroids quite a few times because I'm an asthmatic. And the roid rage is very real. It's very real. You get extremely hungry. You just want to eat everything. And yeah, you get mad over the stupidest things. It's terrible. I hate taking them. But it does help my breathing, so that's why I do. But just imagine that anger amped up in somebody like Shanny. That's a scary thought, especially with her kids around. So hopefully that the whole steroid use only lasts the 5 days. Jason's getting beaten this week, right? Like, that's honestly, I could see that happening, because I'm a very passive person. I don't get angry very often, and I don't blow up and have, full out temper tantrums. And I was at the point where I was having temper tantrums just because I couldn't control the anger. I'd never had anger like that before. But I'm very quick to recognize, hey, this is because I've been on steroids for the past 4 days. So, Shanny will get slappy. She will get slappy. Absolutely. And that's, I mean, violence like that really shouldn't be funny, but we all know how she treats Jason. We all know that she's gotten in trouble for this before. Um, and if she does happen to have an outburst like that, and unfortunately Jason gets hurt, she's going to blame it on the drugs and get out of it like she always does. When has she ever really been held accountable for being a violent person? She hasn't been. Woman too angry to die. Yeah. Here in Australia, that surgery would cost you nothing. You'd be on a waiting list for a short while. Yeah, exactly, Mark. It's the same way here in Canada that if you need something like that replaced, um, you get put on a waiting list, and then you have the surgery. It doesn't cost anything. Like, for example, perfect example in Canada is I was having some major back issues because of my chest size because I had very, very big boobs. Like, I'm talking eye cup titties here. And as much as everybody complimented me on them, um, they were a lot of weight to carry around and they were very hard on my back. And that's how I found out that my hips were damaged because I had to have an x-ray basically of my entire back, just to see what kind of problems having the big boobies were having, right? And that's how I was diagnosed with my degenerative disc disease, which means just the cartilage is wearing away. It's like an arthritis almost, in my lower spine. But in doing that, they also discovered that my hips are pretty damaged. And so eventually, at some point, I'm going to need a hip replacement as well. So I'm kind of in the same boat as Shanny. But anyway, um, that's how they discovered that, was because I, wanted to have my back pain alleviated. And they're like, hey, your boobs are big. Let's fix that. So because it was a medical reason, the government paid for my breast reduction and I didn't have to pay a cent for that surgery. So that's just kind of how universal healthcare works. It's unfortunate that the states isn't on board for that. She's quick when she gets mad. Yep. Maybe the prednisone will be exercise for them all. Well, she definitely, if she decides to go with the hip replacement route, she would definitely need to start exercising because they're not going to operate and replace her hip with the size that she is because her body just wouldn't be able to handle that stress. Like, it's just, you know, I try not to body shame because I'm a big person as well. And I know, why I'm as big as I am. So I don't want to say, well, it's just because you're fat. You can't have this. Well, unfortunately, in Shanny's case, I mean, she's not going to be able to recover from a hip replacement at the weight that she is. It's not going to be possible. So she's going to have to lose a few pounds before they'll agree to do the surgery. I am missing some of these comments here. She will stream all of it too, which is sad. Which, yeah, that was another point I wanted to actually bring up, Gamer, is that she goes on about how she's not going to share any of her personal information. Her personal life is just nobody's business. She's just going to come on here and do the gaming and stuff like that. But then here she's showing us the actual documentation that she's getting from the doctor and giving us all the details of her hospital trip, So for somebody that doesn't want the public in her business, she shares all of her business. So I don't really understand that logic there. It doesn't really exist. I wonder how familiar her local A&E are with her drug seeking. That's a good point. I don't know. Um, this is the first that I've heard she's gone to the hospital since they've moved to Pennsylvania. I'm sure she's been there before, but yeah, that would be an interesting thing to know. Hello, my son. Did she ever go to jail for domestic violence? You know what, Cynthia? I really don't know. I don't know if she ended up doing jail time or not. She may have been put on probation. I'm not sure. I know that she's been arrested for it twice. But for charges, I don't 100% know. Found the picture she used on Google. Yeah. Yeah, so what she's showing is not an actual diagram of her personal hip. It's just an example of what a damaged hip joint looks like. So if she does have a copy of, say, the x-ray, because they would have had to do an x-ray or a CT scan to see the extent of the damage in her joints. But most likely she would have been given a CD with a digital copy of her records. They wouldn't have printed it out on a piece of paper like that, and it certainly wouldn't look like that. Do you find it inconvenient to push a wheelbarrow around all the time? When I lost weight, I lost boobs. I was very happy about that for the reasons you mentioned. Unfortunately, Cynthia, my boobs have always been like ginormous. Like I was a double D cup when I was 125 pounds in high school. So I've just kind of always had very large boobies, and I knew that I had made the decision to have a breast reduction like a really long time ago because I had a lot of back pain even before I had my kids, but I also know that I wanted to breastfeed any children that I had. So, after I had my littlest one and I didn't plan on having any more, then I was like, okay, it's time to look into getting the surgery. General anesthesia, yeah, definitely at her size, the general anesthesia would be a concern. So she would definitely have to. She'd be a candidate for bariatric surgery. The surgery saved my life. I have thought about the bariatric surgery. I've played with that. Shanny I could see could probably definitely benefit for that. I also know that after bariatric surgery, though, you do get very sick for a while if you don't, take care of yourself, because your eating habits have to completely change. And I don't think that Shanny would be up to that commitment. Doctor shopping because the last time they told her exercise and take Tylenol. Yes. Actually, I have an uncle that needs knee replacement, and he's kind of in the same boat, is that no one will do his knee replacement until he takes a bit of the chunk off, because, unfortunately being fat puts you at risk when you're on the table. So there's a lot of doctors that'll say, "Hey, look, no, we can't do it until you lose a little bit of weight." Because that way we don't want you to die on the table. Like, they're not saying lose weight because they want to be mean. They're saying it because, hey, we don't want you to die on us when we're doing your surgery. So try and get a little healthier. You know what I mean? Uh, or a home for the mentally infirm. Yeah. All right, let's see what else she has to say here.
So I'm at risk for osteoporosis. I have to get an x-ray every few years. Oh, bless you, sweetie. And then they got me on a whole week of Percocet to take.
Her Percocets?
Um,
Yeah, that's exactly what Shanny needs, right? The Percocets, because good Lord, she needs more habit-forming drugs. I wonder if they put her on the Percocets beforehand. I mean, I was prescribed Percocets for my back, but I rarely ever fill the prescription for them, and I don't have any on me. I haven't actually filled out a prescription for Percocets since I had my surgery, like my boob surgery 3 years ago, because I don't want to take it. I'm a habit forming person very, very easily, and the idea of taking something addictive like that for long periods of time and possibly getting addicted to it would just be way too easy for me. So it's just like, nope, we're not going to go down that road. Yes, you can get very sick after bariatric surgery, and it does require a lifestyle change. There are a lot of tools to do so, but it takes commitment from the patient. Exactly, Cynthia. Like, she would absolutely benefit from the surgery, but it's not a magic fix, right? Like, you can't just walk in, get the surgery, and then everything's hunky dory and the weight just falls off. You have to commit to your health as well. So it's different than committing to just diet and exercise, but it's still commitment to your health, right? And you have to be willing to do it. Percocets. Yeah, the Percocets. Just like she said at the beginning of the video, Percocets.
but yeah, I like this is proof right here that I'm not going to be able to get a normal fucking job at all.
Okay, that's not true. That's not true at all. Because I have damaged hips. I've had damaged hips for a while. And hey, guess what kind of job I worked? while I was pregnant. I was a PSW, which is the equivalent of a CNA in the US, but I was a nursing assistant basically, and I was taking care of the elderly people every day, and I did that up until I was 38 weeks pregnant with a damaged hip. So Shanny can absolutely do a normal job. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be like a retail job where you're standing all the time, right? Like I worked at call centers for 10 years of my life, which was sitting at a desk. I mean, she's sitting on her bed all day long. So sitting at a desk would be no different. And that's considered a normal job. She'd be able to do something like that. They even with the pandemic are offering even more remote jobs now where you can just work out of your home. So she wouldn't even be able to, or she wouldn't even have to leave her house. She could do them at home. So, I mean, there's so many ways that you can get like a so-called normal job now that this is just an excuse. It's an absolute excuse. I'm an RN and I have OA. It's a cop out, right? Yeah, like exactly. I mean, I toughed it out. There were days where my pain was bad, and then especially being pregnant on top of it. I mean, but I did it, like it can be done. But it's just some people like Shanny are just like, okay, this doctor just handed me my excuse to continue sitting on my ass like I do right now. And, you know, anything we could say about that is not really going to matter to her. Shanny is a sociopath. Apparently, she says she's an empath. I see no pathy in her at all, right? Yeah.
There's no way. Like the doctor said, do not walk. Be on bed rest. Do not do not do any heavy lifting. Do not do any driving.
Like she did any of that anyway.
For the next few days, and then go to the orthopedic surgeon, and we'll figure out what we're gonna do from there. So. Like this is the one thing I was like scared of because I know it's like surgery after surgery in this, they're gonna have to shave down my ankles. That's the double knee replacement, and then probably in a few years the double replacement.
When you don't take care of yourself and you don't take care of your health, these are consequences of it, right? They're eventually going to catch up to you. So I don't see, like, these are things that would have been helped had she taken care of herself better and when it comes to her weight, because we've all seen how big she is. And again, I'm not trying to weight shame because like I said, I'm not the skinniest person out there. I'm overweight as well. Um, and part of that is not my fault. But there are other steps that I like. For example, I have PCOS, which is why I put on weight so easily, and it's very, very hard to take off. Um, I have made the choice not to be on a drug called metformin, which would help me and would really help me lose the weight. Um, but that's a choice that I made, so I have to live with that choice, knowing that I have this extra weight on when there are other options for me to try and take the weight off so I can be healthier. And unfortunately, because I've made that choice to, you know, not drop the weight like I could, I have to deal with issues like damaged hip, damaged hips and lower back pain and, all of that. So I don't know what Shanny really thought about the way she's been living her life up till now, and that it was gonna, because I mean you can go back through the videos and you can see even just a couple years ago when she met Trisha Paytas, you can see how much thinner she is. Like she's still a big girl, but when you see her, you can see how much weight she's packed on just the last 3 years of being with Jason. Like, it's a lot. She's put a lot of strain on her body, and that's not healthy. And unfortunately, the consequences of that are catching up with her now. Okay, Leon. I would like to think that this was a wake up call to her specifically. Yeah, exactly. It should be a wake up call, because if and now too, like, if she doesn't lose the weight and she wants to have these surgeries, she's going to have a really bad time if they even agree to do the surgery in the first place, right? Like, her natural body weight on her joints right now are tough and have destroyed that. How the heck is her body supposed to heal and for her to go to rehab and learn how to use those new joints? How are they going to do that under the strain of her weight at the same time? She needs to do herself a favor and lose the extra weight so that even her body can heal from these surgeries. She's just setting herself up for a really, really bad time right now. My dad was on metformin. If one isn't careful, they can become hypoglycemic. Yes. Yep. I'm not a diabetic, but metformin is the reason why it works for people with PCOS and it works for diabetic is because type 2 diabetes is insulin resistant. And PCOS causes the same thing in your body. Is the reason why we pack on so much weight is because our bodies become resistant to insulin, and metformin helps with that. So that's why when we start taking it, we're not necessarily monitoring our blood sugar, but it's going to help our body to process that insulin so that we can take the weight off like a normal person would. But it's a nice drug. It's just really, really bad on your digestive tract. Let me tell you, metformin is not a good time in the bathroom. Oh my goodness. But yeah, Shanny's gonna have to make some major lifestyle changes if she plans to manage this pain. And guaranteed when she talks to the orthopedic surgeon, they're gonna tell her things that she does not want to hear.
So,
I hope Jesus is here first.
oh, I do too, because I'm not ready for these surgeries.
Hello, husband. That's okay. You're busy at work, so that's all right. We're talking about Shanny and her
But yeah,
Percocets.
I have osteoarthritis of the ball joint of my hip, and it's bad. Like, I'll show you the picture again.
It's not your actual hip, honey.
That's my
We
hip.
know that.
The X-ray of my hip.
No,
That they put out.
she just tried to say that's the X-ray of her hip. That is not an X-ray, you moron. It's a diagram.
To show
Oh my goodness.
me how bad it is. You see all that erosion there?
What a moron.
Eventually, it's just gonna be all eaten up. All that bone.
That is not right. It's not an X-ray. Now, what we should do right now is actually start taking bets about how soon she starts asking for money for this, specifically saying, "Hey, donate to me. I'm broke. I need money for my medical. I need money for my medications and for my medical expenses." Yeah, right, husband? She doesn't know the difference.
Fucking idiots. Anyway.
Yes, you are a fucking idiot.
Oh, I had to take that before, and I'm also on morphine also for pain. You, they're sorry.
Oh, absolutely, Krista. 100% they're going to tell her to
Yes,
lose
I
weight
do
before
mean
they can do surgery.
osteoarthritis, or another term of it is degenerative bone disease in the hip.
Yes.
There's no cure to this shit.
No.
I'm not gonna be able to walk in a few years at all. Not even a little. Like, it's hard to walk now, but
If you lose the weight and you get the hip replacements, you have a chance of
actually relate. I have degenerative hip joints, and they can pop.
If you have the surgeries and you lose the weight and you heal and go to rehab, you're not going to lose your ability to walk. You're not going to be able to walk the same, most likely, but you'll be able to walk. Now, unfortunately, somebody like me who has the same disease in my lower back, unfortunately, I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to be in a wheelchair and I'm going to have that portion of my back fused. I may not be able to walk after that. Don't 100% know. But they can't replace your spine like they can replace your hips and your knees.
How to place.
No.
I'll be facing hip replacement surgery. They said probably by my late 40s, if not sooner. Hang in there. I
Yep,
feel you,
exactly,
Kimmy. I'm
Cynthia.
right there with you right now. It's all like this stupid idiot's like, was it caused by the weight? No, my weight was caused by me not being able to move because of osteoarthritis in my ankles and knees. It was caused by a knee injury when I was 17.
So she's trying to pass this off that she's had OA in her knee, in one knee, since she was 17. And that's why she's so heavy, because she hasn't been able to move. I don't know if I buy that, folks. I don't know if I buy that at all. I have $50 on e-begging before the first week of November. First the cost shock stream and then the grift. Yep.
It was never treated, yeah.
And it's just gotten worse since then. I don't know why everyone assumes this stuff is due to weight. I know, it's so dumb, isn't it?
Darling, we see what you eat and we see what you weigh.
It's
and
not
that absolutely
osteoporosis, it's
contributes to it.
osteoarthritis. But it was it still is bad. Even though I'm on the morphine and shit right now. But it's...
You know what's funny is I saw a lot of people like XX didn't catch the side chat for this one, but she she was, what was she talking about? Can't remember, but it was people in the side chat that were talking about her weight and stuff, and she needed to lose weight. Totally lost my train of thought there that we were going. Oh, they were asking her about, okay, so you got the diagnosis for this. How's the cancer? How's the cancer? Everybody was asking for updates about the cancer, because you would think if she went to the hospital and they're doing body scans and stuff like this, there'd be an update about this mysterious cancer that she's been dying from for the past couple of months, right? But strangely, not a word of it. And all she did was ban the people that were asking.
Idiot.
Yeah, they probably didn't. In my personal experience of being in the hospital for pain, is that they will give you morphine while you're at the hospital, and then they'll send you home with a prescription for perks. Surprisingly lucid for somebody on morphine. Right? That's pretty amazing. Because let me tell you, the only time I've ever had morphine has been at the hospital. When I've been in pain. Let me tell you, I was in an invisible field of flowers. I was eating invisible pizza. When I had my boobs done right after I got out of the surgery and they gave me the morphine, I told the nurse that I loved her for giving me an arrowroot cookie and some apple juice. So it makes you question, how much morphine did they give her, and did they really give her any at all?
I've lost 200 pounds in
if
the
she
last
thinks the
2
hospital is
years.
stingy on pain
Like,
meds,
these
just wait
people
till
are
she gets
idiots.
to 9 for everything, right?
Oh, actually, 250.
Yeah, it's super painful. Definitely not a weight issue. I've been underweight all my life, like over 100 pounds. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, I thought for a second there she was claiming she was underweight all her life, and I'm like, what? What? No.
Thank you, Kimmy.
Not everything's weight, for Christ's sake.
Oh my
I've
God.
had morphine and I wanted to sleep, not jump on stream. Morphine didn't make me sleepy. But it did make me very, very chatty, because normally, like out in real life, when I'm with other people, I'm a very quiet person. I'm not the one to, strike up conversations with strangers, and, I just don't talk a lot out in public. But give me morphine and I will chat your ear off until next week, basically. So it's kind of funny.
I need the charger.
I know. But they will
Give me a sec,
probably
babe, I'll
put
get it for
me
you.
on like a weight loss regime
Yeah.
just to help
Yeah,
with
because your
the
BMI is a little high.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not that bad compared to other people's
What you
BMI.
were?
what I was, yeah.
It's
Here you go,
amazing
darling.
what you did.
So can
Yeah.
I
It's amazing.
Oh, I'm sorry, Genty.
Whatever you do, never take morphine and drink absinthe. The next day is
Oh,
hell.
cerebral
I
palsy
don't like
can be
absinthe.
very
I
hard,
just,
Jen.
ugh,
I'm
gross.
sorry you have to go through that, hon. But it was like I was so shocked that they gave me Percocets and morphine. I was like, you gave
Okay,
me
so
Percocets
she
and
said porcasets, and now they're Percocets. Percocets. So porcocets. Yeah, that's what we'll call them, porcocets.
morphine. Really? Are you serious? Not just Tylenol? Because for years I've been
Hi,
going to the
Roland.
hospital for these pains, and all they give me is fucking fucking Tylenol and say there. Sorry about that. Jason wanted to say something
Yeah.
before I got cut off.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that for the troll morons, she had doctors and nurses say you are obviously in massive pain. It's obvious you're in pain.
So?
You know, I mean, just shut up about things being fake. That's my deal. It's very real.
Oh, Jason's white
It's
knighting.
because of how I am. They had to give me a wheelchair.
Right? Pikachu, I was actually thinking the same thing because I heard her say that in the other stream that she lost 200 pounds in a couple of years. Where? Because we have videos showing of what her weight was a couple of years ago. Again, when she met Trisha Paytas, that's a perfect example of a full body video. We can see everything that's going on, and we can see the weight that she's packed on since then. So when did she mysteriously lose this 200 pounds? And then that also brings up the question, if she lost 200 pounds, then how big was she? You know, because for her to be the size that she is and claim that she lost 200 pounds, that would mean that she was in like what, the 600 range? Like, good Lord. People deal with pain every day. You're not the only one. Yeah, she likes to act like she's special because, you know, she's been in a lot of pain. You know, like I deal with chronic pain too. So do a lot of other people. Like, it's not a new concept. Doesn't make you special. You're not unique. The more Jason says to stop saying things are fake, the more yeah. Right? 200 pounds worth of money. Yeah. Right, Mark? She gained 200 pounds after spending dollars on. Yeah. Absolutely.
Chair to go through the hospital.
And I mean, remember like the video that she just did a few short weeks ago of all that candy. You know she ate all that candy. That's not good for her either. Like, how many calories? How much sugar is that? It's no wonder.
Yeah.
You were in so much
Because I can't move very well with my hip.
Yeah.
Really, Jessica? I lost both hips due to bone loss. I'm very happy with the artificial hips. They made me walk after 2 days post-op. Again, the titanium, steel, and Teflon ball joint is great. It doesn't hurt or anything.
Wow.
You're lucky. Most pain doctors just tell you to take Tylenol. I know, right? That's what I'm used to. But they actually took me serious this time.
Yeah, because most doctors were giving out the Percocets like candy, and a lot of people got addicted to them. So, I mean, they're not just going to hand out heavy narcotics all willy-nilly. Especially when, you know, you're the size that you are and you're not really doing a whole lot to improve your health, you know, because I mean, pills and surgeries can only do so much. You have to commit to being healthier as well. And that means that you do have to put in the effort on your part. So they can't just, you know, do a surgery, hand you some pills and say, here, you're all better. You have to be willing to work too. Otherwise, it's just not going to be successful.
Thank you, Stanley.
How much Halloween
You
candy
have
is she going to
MS,
eat, right?
Jessica, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna get. I have like a really good doctor. I go to a very good hospital. Very recommended. Um,
Yeah, it's a good thing.
since I'm in OK, now I'm in the MJ card now, so edibles are my relief. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna ask the osteo
Oh, here we
surgeon
go.
is to like, is there a way you can give me a referral so I can get my marijuana card? Because I don't want to stay on Percocets or opioids or anything like that. Cause I'm sorry about that. I'm having like problems with my internet today.
We see that. Her porcoceps. But I thought she got her applied for her medical card like how long ago? Um, so obviously she didn't end up getting that if she's asking about getting a medical card now.
I should probably go to the computer.
Yeah, it works on there.
But she's always the victim
Yeah,
and
it's fine
nothing
on the
is ever
computer.
her
It's just
fault.
like
At
all the
some
cell
point you need to
phones
take
now. It's
accountability
like
for the shape your
wonky.
body is in.
Outages, yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like you have to it's
Get
not
the
just like
titanium
you have to
steel.
take responsibility for the shape that your body's in, but I mean, you have to commit to your own health. You know, like there are some people out there that are heavier, but they're perfectly healthy. You know, they do take care of themselves. They eat right, they exercise. They just happen to be bigger, you know, and there's some people like that. But when you sit around on your ass all day drinking Dr. Pepper and Coke and eating candy and takeout and junk and not moving and going anywhere, obviously you're going to pack on the pounds. Obviously you're not giving a shit about, you know, your own health. You're not taking care of yourself. You know, and there's no doctor out there that is going to say, "Okay, let's help you," without expecting you to actually take initiative yourself, you know?
With plastic cup, Teflon ball joints. They last longer and no issues. Yeah.
Yes, you do. You want the opioids, yeah? Porcoceps.
I'm glad they are finally helping you. Women in pain are often not taken seriously. I know they like treat you like you're some fucking drug addict, and it's like, dude, I don't even take anything.
You did before, though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
I also recommend to get one done at a time. Yeah, I know. That's 4 surgeries, though.
I mean, she also has
But
to consider, too, with her size, if she doesn't lose the weight and she gets anything replaced, she gets her knees replaced, she gets her hips replaced. It's more likely with hip surgery. But she increases her risk of stroke or an embolism, you know, with her body trying to heal at that size. So does she want to take those risks and throw a clot and end up, you know, with an embolism in her lungs that'll might kill her, or, you know, in her brain that might kill her or severely disable her for the rest of her life? You know, like these are all the risk factors that she has to consider when it comes to these surgeries. If Because I mean, a person of a you know, a more regular body weight, those injuries can happen to. So it's just it's worse when you're heavier. She's probably not thought about that though.
like doing it all at once, though, if you think about it, that's a lot to heal all at once.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they do it.
You know,
I don't want to think about it.
Shanny, I'm sorry. I've been living with rheumatoid arthritis for 24 years. I've had my ankle replaced twice. My knees don't bend at all, and my hips have degenerative arthritis. Yeah, it sucks, but it's like once it goes in your hips, it makes it a lot easier to get on disability, though.
Notice how what direction she's going with that though, right? So she's trying to see, hey, this means this is my meal ticket. I've got an excuse now. I've got an in to get on disability now. Like that's a good thing. It's in my hips now, so I can claim disability. You know, so she seems more happy about being able to possibly get approved for disability rather than, hey, this is going to severely change my life and I need to do something about it.
So I'm going to be giving the disability papers to the osteo surgeon. So, oh, so that'll help the process come along more.
What do you think? Do you think that she'll get denied or she'll get approved for disability now because of that? I mean, I've heard some grueling things about the disability process in the US and how difficult it can be, even when you have a legitimate disability that you qualify for. I've heard that it takes like 3 or 4 tries to get on disability, and usually you need the help of a lawyer to be able to do it because they're going to deny you every chance that they get. Um, Now, of course, I can't speak to that because I've never tried to apply for disability, but I don't know. I don't know. Do you think they'll give it to her? I'm on the side of probably not, but we'll see.
Wait with the knees, don't do them. Oh, Jessica, I've been waiting for this double knee replacement since I was like 25.
Then why
I'm
didn't you get it
38
done?
now, so 13 years of needing this double knee replacement, and I haven't done it because my kids were little. And I'm just going to end this stream and go to my computer because it's not working right on my phone. I'll be right back. Just stay put, folks.
Well, well. She did go on to stream for another 2.5 hours. I don't know if XX has. I don't know if XX has documented that yet. Let's take a look. No, she has not uploaded it yet. So we would have to go to Shanny's channel in order to see that. Is it still up? Yeah, it's still up. It's 2.5 hours though. This was the stream though where I gave her shit about what HIPAA was, and she was like snippy with me because she doesn't understand what HIPAA is or what HIPAA protects. And there's a lot of people on, her side of the fence that don't understand what HIPAA is. And that's why they were screaming so much about a restaurant asking you for, proof of your vaccination was a HIPAA violation when it's not, because that's not what HIPAA is. Getting disability takes years, and it isn't uncommon for you to get denied a few times before it's given. It's absolutely correct. Okay. Because like I said, I've never applied for it. Well, I considered applying for it a couple of years ago. And I was basically told the same thing, that I would most likely get denied. So I just didn't bother to apply. I was like, nah, it's fine. Yep, my wife has heart failure and took 3 years, denied the first time. Wow. I've heard rumors, like even with people that are on disability that are like amputees, and they have to keep confirming that they're still disabled. Like, they're an amputee. Do you expect the limb to spontaneously grow back? Like, of course, you lose your leg, you're disabled for the rest of your life. It's not, that is not going to change. They would never do a double knee on someone in their 20s unless absolutely necessary, because replacements don't last forever. Oh, that's a good point. But you think though that it would make more sense to do it when they're younger, because your body's in better shape, and would probably heal better. But that's a good point as well. I think Draven stream sniped it. Yeah, he did. I woke up this morning and he was streaming because she was still going to. I've noticed that she's done a lot of like insomnia streams, especially in the last week or two, which of course is not going to help her condition at all, because that's one of the things I notice, that my lower back and my hips really start to get bad if I'm sleep deprived. So that doesn't help. How many views does Shanny get on her channel now? You know what? Honestly, I don't know. I don't really look. Okay, Shan, where are you? I was just looking at you. So the 12-minute video that we just watched, she got 382 views. So, I mean, a decent amount, I guess. I I average between 50 and 100 views per video. So when someone gets like almost 400 views on a video, that seems like a lot to me, but I know it would look like nothing compared to other people. Like on her round 3, and on the 2.5 hour stream, she got 510 views. So, I mean, that seems like a decent amount to me. Not the thousands that she was claiming she got before, but I mean, still, for a little YouTuber like me, that seems like a lot. They say if you're under 50, you will have a hard time, and the doctor told my wife that she had a year left to live. Oh my God. I hope she's okay now, and they were wrong about that. You still have to report that you're disabled every 3 to 5 years, no matter what. Yeah, see, that's kind of silly. Like I said, somebody that, is disabled because they lost a limb, why would they need to report? Because like I said, that limb is not going to spontaneously grow back. So there's no way for that to change. We need to direct them to XX. I don't want Shanny having views. Yeah, that's why I always put a link to XX's channel in each of my Shanny videos, just to make sure that everybody has access to watching Shanny's stuff without actually giving Shanny the views. At age 25, I was told they could do a total knee replacement, that I was too young and it wouldn't last. 4 knee reconstructions later, and they finally had to. Best thing ever. Yeah, now see, they could have, I guess, saved you a lot of hassle by replacing it in the first place. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that field, so I couldn't tell you. But to me, it would just make sense to do it on somebody younger, even if it's temporary, just because their body would be better equipped to heal when they had it done, right? So getting disability in the US is crazy. It's a broken system, even with legitimate claims. Most of the time, disability isn't even something one can live on. Yeah, and I mean, disability up in here in Canada is basically the same thing. Like, I've been told it's very difficult to get on it. It takes a long time. And then even then, there's not really, it's not enough to live on. Like, the amount of disability that they pay out now, I believe doesn't even cover rent. So it's like they have to do something with the system up here too, because people that are disabled just, they can't live. Like, how are they don't make enough money. They don't have a big enough income to be able to pay their bills, or have groceries. My friend is in her 40s and they're reluctant to do replacements. She's actually going for bariatric surgery instead. Well, that'll definitely help. But unfortunately, your joints are one of those things where they don't get better, right? So, once those joints are damaged, they're damaged. There's no growing your cartilage back. She has to pretty much do nothing, but I will take it. We've been together 30 years. Wow. That's awesome. Well, like being together 30 years, I mean. But I hope she has more than a year. I used to look at the time frames that doctors tell you, like you only have so long to live, to kind of take that with a grain of salt, just because in my own personal experience, my grandfather was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and he was given, a year or two, and he ended up living for another 15, you know. So, and then, my little cousins that were adopted, they were severely abused when they were babies. Um, One of them was born very drug addicted, only has like a quarter of a brain. So he's severely, severely disabled. But he was told that, they sent him home with a foster parent, and like my aunt, who's the foster parent, sent him home and said, "Hey, he's not going to live very long. We want him to be in a home and someone to take care of him before he passes away." So he was only given like a few weeks to live as an infant, and now he's 18 years old. So I mean, when doctors say, well, you only have such and such time to live, you sometimes kind of have to take that with a grain of salt and be like, that might not necessarily be true, because they're just guessing, really. They're kind of making an estimate, and there's a lot of people out there that live longer than they estimate. They had to invent something that would last. I have this whopping big hinge in my knee now, and it will be last the rest of my life. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, Mark? Exactly. She thinks they'll get all this money. She'll be getting between $900 to $1,400 a month. You can't live on that. No, you can't. A single person can't live on that a month. And there's no way that the four of them, because you know that Rev is not going to go out and get a job anytime soon. So they're going to sit there and they're going to try and live off of four people with $1,400 a month. You know, like they're not going to be able to do it. They're still going to be in a bad spot. She's gone almost 2 years past that. That's good, Roland. I hope she has lots of more time with you. Disability pays peanuts in Canada and the US. Yep, absolutely. It's a great thing. Okay, that's good then. Awesome. And it's good that it'll last. You won't have to have it replaced. 900 to 1,400 is if she's lucky. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I have a family member that's on disability. She doesn't get very much for disability, but because she has 4 kids, she gets an additional benefit from the government for each of the kids. So between her disability and that monetary benefit for the children, she's able to make it. Mind you, it's tight, but she's able to make it. So you would think that a disability benefit would be more so that people can actually live off of it, not, just scraping by. Child wants to play Minecraft, so she's like, Mommy, are you done your stream? I want to play Minecraft. I want to play Minecraft. I want to play Minecraft. It's like, oh my God, Minecraft. I mean, don't get me wrong. I stream Minecraft. I love Minecraft, but this child just lives and breathes Minecraft and wants to play it 24/7. It's like, no, child. She hasn't worked enough, so she'll still probably get 700 SSI, and then the 900 includes the extra money for the kids. My aunt is on disability and gets 900 a month. Yeah, like there is nowhere that you would be able to rent in this city for $900 a month. So, like somebody on disability collecting the 900, where are they going to live? If everywhere that, to rent is more than that. Like, and that's not considering, hey, you need to have a phone line. Hey, you need to have groceries. Hey, where you're living might not include utilities or medications, So it's like, if you can't even survive your basic necessities off of disability, then you got to reevaluate that system, right? Her rent is $750 a month. Yeah, but that still doesn't leave a whole lot for the rest of the month for other things, right? So, I mean, just using my town as an example, there's nowhere that you could rent even a studio or a bachelor apartment for that price. It's just crazy. You'd be lucky to find a room to rent at that price. So, I get $13.49 included, 100 for each of my kids. That and then 300 in food stamps is all we have. Yeah. And it's they're trying to push through this universal benefit. And it's basically like it's like a universal income. So everybody gets a base income, and then going out and getting a job you earn on top of that. And it's like they're estimating it at like minimum, I think it's either 2,000 or 2,500 a month. But they're sitting here guessing that that's the minimum that it would take for somebody to be able to survive. But people on disability get like just little more than half of that. So, I mean, that should tell you right there that if you think that it takes $2,000 to be able to afford your basic necessities, then why are we paying our people on disability only, $1,300 or less? Doesn't make sense, right? But there's so many of these governmental systems that are just messed up and need to be overhauled and rethought out. In the US, you can have a full-time job and still need food stamps to exist. Yeah, and you hear that story more and more. Disability support is going to help. You won't go forward at all, though. Yeah. They left her with 150 a month for everything else. Yeah, and that's just not possible. Like, and you'd think that paying your taxes into these benefit programs, that eventually, you know, when it comes around for your turn to be able to use those benefits, that they would be there. You know, it's not like you're just sitting there expecting free money from the government. No, you as a citizen have paid taxes your entire life paying into these systems. So you should be able to benefit from them when you need them, when they're required, you know, and it's just a shame that they kind of get the short end of the stick. I don't know. I spend far too much time sitting here just trying to mull over these kinds of things and be like, this is not fair. Shanny really believes that she can demand a ton of money. To live on disability requires more work than any job. Right. And she's going to find that out very quickly, that she's just not going to be able to hand in a piece of paper and say, hey, I'm disabled, give me money. That it's going to be it's going to be a journey. It's really going to be a journey. And if she's tired now, just wait. Just wait. Because when you have to deal with the government and benefits and sending in applications and having to pay for applications, and that's the thing too, like, it's not free. I don't know if it's the same down in the US, but for us to apply for disability up here, I had to pay to put in an application, which was another deterrent for me for turning in the application, because I was like, why am I going to pay for an application that they're just going to say no to? So, you know, the US is supposed to supplement housing for people on disability in cases where it's deemed necessary. Well, let's hope that they actually stick to that, though I have the feeling that they don't really. But yeah, Shanny's in for a real wake-up call, and if this is something that she thinks is just going to be submitted and approved, that's not how the governments in either one of these countries work, right? Like, we don't have to pay to apply, but you have to travel to go see a bunch of doctors. Yeah. Uh-huh. I don't know if I'd imagine with the way that your healthcare system is down there, that when you show up with an application for disability at a doctor, that you have to pay for their time to fill out that application. Because again, that's another money grab for the doctors in here anyway, because there's not a lot of services that we as Canadians have to pay doctors for. Because it's all covered under our universal health care. But when it comes to things like filling out forms or faxing information to certain agencies, then, you know, or doctor's notes, like if you're sick and your job's like, hey, we want proof from your doctor you were actually ill. That kind of paperwork you have to actually, you know, pay out of pocket to your doctor to get them to do. The housing supplement is the HUD programs and has huge waiting lists. Oh, I'd imagine so. We have subsidized housing up here too, and like, when I was homeless and I was looking for a place, like I was looking to apply for subsidized housing, they told me that it was a 7-year wait. 7 years, and I was like, what good is that going to do me, right? Like, what's the point? If you happen to be approved, though, the disability will reimburse you for your application costs. Oh, well, that's good news at least. Even on Medicaid, they require you to cover the travel costs, and depending in your program copays. Yeah, so I don't really understand the whole copay thing, because we don't have copays up here. Where like you go to the doctor and you have to pay so much of the visit and your insurance pays the rest. Like when we do doctor's visits, we don't have to pay anything. We just call, make the appointment, show up. Now, if we no show, a lot of the times then we're held responsible for that. So like if I book something, like say I need a physical, and I book a physical, the doctor has to book out a certain chunk of time for that, say like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever. And if you decide to no show on that appointment or cancel within 24 hours, then they charge you like $50, something like that. But that's only if it's like a major appointment or something. But yeah, there's not a lot that we have to pay for when it comes to doctor stuff. Now, medications, that's a different story, because medications are bloody expensive, and we do have to pay out of pocket for those unless you have like personal insurance through your job or whatever. But the actual appointments themselves, we don't actually have to pay for. Yeah, copays. When I worked in the US, it was $50 copay upfront to see a family doctor. See, that's nuts. That really, and you know what's funny is up here we actually reward our doctors for taking appointments. So like for example, if you have a family GP and you are a patient of his, based on the number of patients he has, he receives a certain bonus for being like a monetary bonus at the beginning of the year, based on how many patients he has. Now, say for example, I can't get into my family doctor, and I have to go to, say, a walk-in clinic, not the hospital, but like a walk-in clinic, which is like a doctor's clinic where you can just go in and be seen right away because you say your family doctor doesn't have any appointments or whatever. Um, Now, that the cost of that appointment for me to go to the walk-in clinic rather than my family GP is deducted from that bonus that he gets from the government because it's an incentive for him to be more available to his patients. So it incentivizes them having like after hours calls. If they're in like a group practice and they can each take turns type thing where they do night appointments or they're on call where you can contact them. Now, you can contact your doctor and if he wants to see you, then he can like meet you at the ER, that type thing. But it's basically a reason for a doctor to be more available to his patients because he doesn't want to be paying out of his bonus to a walk-in clinic because you couldn't get in to see him. But that doesn't, me as a patient, that has nothing to do with me. I don't have any control over that. And no money comes out of my pocket for that. It's solely based on the bonus that the government gives the doctor. Why does a doctor need to be male? My doc. Well, I was just thinking about my doctor because my doctor was male, but we definitely need more like female GPs. I would be totally open to that. There is a lot of female like gynecologists and pediatricians. There's some optometrists, but there's not really a whole lot of choice when it comes to female GPs, unfortunately. And if there was a female GP that was taking patients, I would hop on that train in a heartbeat. The copays are a racket. Mostly that is for HMOs. I don't really understand what HMOs are. Probably because I'm Canadian and I'm used to universal healthcare. So, because the gist of HMOs that I get is that your insurance basically will pay for particular like hospitals and doctors for you to go to, and you can't just walk into a hospital and be seen by that particular hospital if it's not in your HMO type thing. And we don't have that up here. Like we have one hospital that's run by the government and you go to that hospital that's assigned to your particular area, right? Or based on like what the hospital does. Like we have one major hospital here that does the whole area for like things like major surgeries, major traumas, and birth, right? So if you're having a baby in this particular area, even though we have several hospitals, you only go to this one because they're the only one that delivers babies. But we do have several smaller hospitals. So like if you're in an accident or whatever hospital's closest is the one that you're going to, and you don't have to worry about your insurance not letting you go there is because it's the only hospital. It's all covered under universal healthcare, so it doesn't matter. HMO is a company that manages insurance clients, and yeah, it's a lot like organized crime syndicates in old movies. Wow, that's crazy. That's one thing I'm really gonna miss about immigrating down to the US from Canada is the adjustment from universal healthcare to insurance in the States. So hopefully sometime in the very near future, the US will be hopping on the universal healthcare bandwagon. I really hope. You have to be approved by an insurance company and have to get referrals from your assigned primary care physician before you can go to specialists. Yeah. See, I had to go to a specialist for my boob surgery. I had to go see that that type of surgery is handled by a plastic surgeon, obviously. So we only have 2 plastic surgeons in the area, and I got to pick which one I wanted. So it didn't really matter. I was sent out to do my research on and get opinions on both of them and then pick which one I wanted. And then the doctor's like, okay, I'll refer you to that one. You know, so I wasn't assigned to like a specific doctor. Like I had to go here because they're all in the same like group or whatever. But it makes things a lot easier, I think, on a patient's end, not having to worry about all that stuff. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to cut it off there. I don't really want to get into the full 2-hour stream, 2.5-hour stream that Shanny had going on. I think we might save that for tomorrow. But I do have a little one that really, really wants to get on Minecraft. And I did tell her that she could play Minecraft when I was done streaming. So I'm going to stop torturing her by making her wait. Yeah, I love the U.S. I'd still be there, but I absolutely loathe the American medical system. It's borderline abuse. Yeah. Yeah, I can completely understand that. And again, that's something that makes me extremely nervous about immigrating to the US about. I mean, there's so many wonderful things that I'm looking forward to in moving to the US, but giving up my universal health care to go is just one of those things that I'm really going to miss. Really, really going to miss. But like I said, hopefully the US jumps on the bandwagon soon and they get universal health care too when they realize how important it is. So raise up your voices, vote for people that will support the universal health care. All right, guys, thank you for listening to me ramble today. I realized that because I smoked half a bowl before I started the stream, I talked a lot today, a lot more than I normally do. So I appreciate you all putting up with my rambling. But we will definitely come back tomorrow and review either the Shanny is tired one or the 2.5-hour one that she did today. I have not decided. We'll see what looks more interesting because sometimes when Shanny talks, it's kind of boring. So we want some excitement. Unless of course, like there's more Ziad news or whatever. If there's more Ziad shit, then we'll talk about more Ziad shit because, you know, he's a shithead all around. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I love you all. Hope you have the best Thursday. Please remember to like and subscribe the stream if you have not already. I am so very, very close to be able to use my community tab. I only need like 20 more subscribers and I hit that 500 and then I'll be able to post with my community tab, which I want so bad. But hopefully soon. But I love all you guys. You have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.